Thanks for having us and for the introductions.
And please feel free to film Instagram, tweet, Facebook,
All of it. We love it.
Snapchat.
So you stole our introduction slide when we were going to talk about ourselves. You did it better than we could, though. So I don't know if you want to say anything else.
Quick. I'm Al. I'm an interactive creative director. I come from Montreal. And yeah, really excited to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, as was mentioned, my name's Josh. I work primarily on live action and narrative-based content, and kind of evolved through working in some animation and more classic graphic design stuff. So we've landed here today.
Cool. I'll take that. So we'll just start by telling you guys a little bit about Digital Kitchen. So DK's been around for about 15 years. We have 3 offices. LA, Chicago, and Seattle. We're both from the Seattle office. Our roots are pretty much in narrative content. We started in early 2000 making title sequences for shows like True Blood, Dexter, and 6 Feet Under. And as those shows got a lot of attention, it provided us opportunities to start doing more work for exciting brands. So over the past 10 years, we've taken some of those roots and wanted to expand that and take it to a new form of engagement. So we started creating different type of experiences, more digital work, taking work into spaces. And like the world changed a lot, the internet happened, people stopped watching TV. So taking technology to really let us go in other places and change the sort of experience that are possible nowadays. So that's largely what we're gonna talk about today.
So I think some of the comments that were made earlier pertain a lot to what we're hoping to convey, which is this notion that design is something that we all have a passion for, and we love doing it, and it's great to get awards and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we create a lot of the world that other people experience. And so as designers, we can do good or we can do harm, right? We can create great experiences or we can create terrible experiences. And kind of a through line of what we're talking about is that technology has kind of amplified that and changed that. So we're going to talk a bit about that, but before we get into the tech side of things, I want to just take a step back and think about, what in just everyday life from a human standpoint makes an experience bad or good? What differentiates them? And I started, because it's more fun, thinking about some bad experiences from my personal life. So sirens passing me on the street, or someone droning on about a dream that they had, or filling out long forms like insurance or expense reports, things like that. And they're bad for different reasons, right? So loud sirens assault the senses. It's just unpleasant on a sensory level. Dream stories, for me at least, are boring because I don't have a connection to the subject matter. I don't know what they're talking about. And insurance forms are confusing, so they get in the way of a goal. In this case, just getting through and completing the form. Conversely, some good experiences that fall into the similar categories. So drinking coffee, for me, it positively engages multiple senses. So there's taste, there's texture, there's smell. If it's made in front of you, there's sound. And all of these things kind of combine to a really great sensory experience. Everyone likes talking about yourself, or at least I do. That's why I'm here today. So you automatically have a connection with the subject matter. You have a reason to care. Or getting an award, so something that's an accomplishment, based on something that you've done. All of those are, kind of categorically good experiences across, any culture. Taking back to the first point, technology can amplify these experiences in part because it's ever increasing in our lives. There's a growing number of screens that surround us. Computers talk to us now. There's facial recognition software. There's holograms now. I think as designers, we have an obligation to make sure that on this basic human level, we're doing more good than harm. So let's take a look at some projects that we've worked on that at least we hope are using technology to create either greater sensory experiences, greater connections with an audience, or better reward an audience for their participation. This is an extreme example. It's one that was mentioned before. We worked on a project with the LAX airport, and they started, or they contacted us after they had put these massive 100-foot screens inside of this new terminal. They came to us to ask, what should go on these screens. So imagine walking in front of one of these things, 100 feet tall. This is something that could completely ruin your day, or it could be a really wonderful, unique experience. And so our take on it was that rather than shouting or creating spectacle, we wanted to do something that was simple, that was beautiful, because really anything at 100 feet high is going to speak loudly regardless of the content. So this was one idea. It was just simple, sculptural clouds that kind of played off of the architecture of the space. Another was this idea of reflections off of airplane skins. All of this kind of just relying more on sensory experience, that it's simple, it's relevant to the idea of air travel, and that it immerses an audience in a feeling, hopefully in this case, freedom or brightness. And then additionally, considering the context, right? So we wanted to envelop people in the good parts of the journey, the people or the places that they're visiting, and hopefully mitigate the fact that you're in an airport, you're really in the worst part of international travel at that point. You're running to catch a flight, you're taking off your shoes. So we wanted to mitigate that stuff and use technology to bring kind of the joy of travel into this experience. So this is a quick video that shows some of that work in context.
Focus on narrative is so clear, and like it's not just content. Yeah. And it's like it's nice along the tree, it's not reaching too much, so people are able to access it and stuff. But it's rich.
So the thing with LAX is obviously it's beautiful photography and film, but beyond that, it's also something that people can partake in and feel connected with. So there's a story there, which brings us to our next example, which actually, before we get there, So stories create a connection, and perhaps the most effective way to make people care is tell a story. And in this case, there's 3 examples that I'm sure some of you guys love and are passionate about. In my case, I watched Orange Is the New Black in a weekend, and like I was absorbed by it because of the story. Which brings us to our next example, which was for Internet Explorer. And for me, Internet Explorer, as someone that does interactive work, is not a story that I can connect with very well. Shout out to our friends at Microsoft. So Microsoft Internet Explorer came to us, and developers hate it, users hate it, but they released a new browser, started from scratch, and created a great product. So we wanted to use storytelling and creating stories that people can connect with. So we pitched this idea that hinged on a story around characters, and it was basically the old grumpy father, i.e. 6, and his cool kid, i.e. 10. And this is how we pitched the idea. Oh, where's no sound?
Really funny.
Where's the ticket?
Anyways. So they were into it, and then we started working on it, came up with this idea of making puppets for it. So we created a series of short episodes that were 6 seconds long and lived on Vine. And each episode showcased a new feature of IE10 using this dynamic of the father and son. It was a lot of fun to work with. We just used one of our rooms in the office and started making puppets and making it happen. And these are the result. Hopefully there's sound this time.
That means that you're adopted. Hey, slow down.
I'll never be like you.
Son, what's this I found in your sock drawer?
Dad.
Son, there are a lot of sites out there, and
Oh, Dad. I'm safe.
Puppy's daughter is looking pretty cute.
No, Dad. I have standards. Give him a minute. Can you do this?
Well done.
So as this project was successful because it could talk about IE through life situation that everyone can relate to. We've all had awkward conversations with our dad. So like whether it was learning to drive or going on a date.
So this is something we strongly believe at DK. It's the notion that stories aren't tied to a single medium or they're medium agnostic. And so one medium might be more compelling than another to express that idea. They can also relate to audiences in different ways. So back to the Halo reference, my girlfriend would never play the video game Halo. She just, I don't know, it wouldn't be something she would be interested in. But she became totally obsessed with this television series that spawned off of it. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. But it's just like the simple notion that the medium that you choose to express it can more powerfully connect with certain audiences, or it could even be a better expression of that idea. So this is an example from DK's design team in Chicago. It's a really simple arc. It kind of starts out with this foggy glass surface, and you can sense a presence behind it, but you can't quite tell what it is. And as that presence moves closer, you realize it's a woman, and she's peering at the audience, at once intriguing the viewer, but also seemingly intrigued by the viewer. And so what made this story, I think, really resonate was that the medium wasn't just a video, it was the walls of a building. And so it creates the illusion of space or of life inside those walls. And so, yeah, that story could have just been, played out on film. But, the point I guess I'm making is that there are these new mediums that are proliferating, these technologies that are allowing us to express ideas in ways that, don't fit into a 30-second broadcast ad, or, might not be the standard website, but ways that are more compelling than that. So this is an idea where hopefully the new mediums that we're exploring were more effective than the standard ones.
So for Whole Foods Market, they wanted to engage the community around the topic of sustainable living for Earth Month, which is in April. And so we made this website that we created a ton of content for it, all these gifts, and really trying to get at that idea of sustainable living. So we wanted to get the word out, and to do so, we found 24 influential people that had a shared interest with Whole Foods, and wanted to create a connection with these people so that they would feel invested in the project and that they would want to talk about it, basically. So I had to figure out first what we would make. So we came up with this idea of talking vegetables and fruits. So first we pitched the idea to the client. So we took this to their office, basically a banana and an apple, had them poke in it, and it started talking to them. So they were really into it, and then we just got started working on it. The interesting thing about Earth Month is that everything had to be sustainable. So at first we wanted to make a mango animal, but they were like, no, mangoes are out of season. The boxes had to be made out of recycled cardboard. We had to use 3D printed food-safe ceramic. The boxes had to be painted using vegetable paint made out of vegetable. So it's like not a conventional medium, but something that fits the message of sustainability. So using fruits and vegetable. So basically, this is what the people received, and then when they put it together in a Mr. Potato Head fashion, it just started talking to them. So that's the result when it's put together. And this is a quick video of someone that received the pineapple, the pineapple, and just put it together. So they received this personalized message that was specifically to them.
Hey there, I'm Pineapple, ambassador of the Earthling people, here to speak to Gene Ah, founder of Knotcot, editor-in-chief of Knot Empire.
You need me to knock on
Would that be you? Ah, that's good. You guys seem to know a lot about what's hot over at knotcot.com.
Say 3.
See what I did there? Now, there are lots of humans on this planet doing their thing every day. But some do more than that. Some are more than human. They're Earthlings. Get it? We need more of them, I say. This month, Whole Foods Market is celebrating Earthlings and all they do at earthlingmonth.com. Get yourself over there and have a look. Yeah, I know. As a fruit, you know about the internet. That's crazy talk, right? But look at you, listening to a pineapple. Crazy now, eh? Pineapple out. Eat me.
So one other notion that we want to talk about is that technology allows for participation. And as the slide says, that makes you give a shit. So I think ultimately that's one of the notions, right? That you don't, that you want people to care, you want to engage people and have them actually be interested in it, because it's not going to be a good experience if they're not. So each of these are images from my social channels. Naturally, I have more of a connection to them. They're also posted in real time. I can comment on them or share my own images. So I'm able to participate in this narrative. And that sort of real-time participation can create just a more interesting experience. And we've kind of capitalized on this notion to create, I think, some additionally interesting experiences. So this one, we hid 3 brand new cars across the country and put a live streaming video on each one of those cars, put it on the internet, and said whoever finds these cars first gets to keep them. So people got in their cars, started searching. Others started analyzing the video feeds, having conversations online. People were sharing information back and forth. And ultimately, someone did find this first one. It was this great father and son, kind of odd characters. But they were really happy, and their sense of accomplishment was totally shared by the whole community. That, as this comment says, like people that spent days driving around the country searching for it, they still got outside, they had an adventure, and they were able to kind of share in the excitement of the people who actually won the car. Another experience, one that was referenced before, was a project we did for a music festival where we created a piano that you could tweet to, and it would talk back to you, and it would also play songs if you requested to it. So that simple interaction of just asking for a song and having it played in front of you, people found it really enjoyable. It's a simple kind of reward for your participation. And so I think ultimately, throughout all these examples, hopefully, the point, comes out to mean that, one, we live in the future, but ultimately that none of these experiences would have been possible even 10 years ago. So technology is allowing us to convey ideas in all sorts of fantastic ways. And as it becomes ever less siloed and continues to integrate into our lives, the opportunities as well as the need for quality experiences in these realms increases. So as designers, I think it's our job to make sure that those experiences are ones worth having. Thank you.